Yeah, she looking like a movie, yeah. I think that I'ma choose her, yeah. Bet that ass.
What's going on, guys? My name's Elisha and welcome back to Goal. This is a show where we talk about everything in the world of football from the past week. And this week, we had a bit of a mixture between international men's football and club football, and also some historic things coming out of women's football. So, without further ado, let's talk about all of that right now. So first up, in the international breaks, there was 3 big games this week. The first one was Brazil versus Argentina. Now, we all know when Brazil and Argentina play, it's one of the biggest rivalries in football. When they play, you just know it's going to be a show. You know that there's no such thing as a friendly between Brazil and Argentina. It's just, it's 100% every single time. Or so we thought, right? But now, there's so much money involved in the game. You know, these players are not trying to get injured when they go back to their clubs. Some of them have Champions League football to play, all of that stuff. So the game wasn't as entertaining as I think a lot of people would have liked. I would have liked it to be a lot more I would have liked to see them try a lot more. There wasn't that same passion. I mean, we don't want to see these guys fight and try to kill each other out there. But it's Brazil, Argentina. I mean, this is, in history, this is it. This is that type of game. This is the El Clasico of international football. But Brazil came away with the win, which I'm happy with. But it could have been a lot more entertaining if these players, they're all quality players. Messi wasn't there, but Neymar and a lot more of these world-class players were there. So it should have been a lot more entertaining than it actually was. And then we have Spain versus England now. In the first half of this game, England were killing Spain. I mean, attack after attack after attack. Spain looked completely open in the defense. Those counterattacks that England were running were crazy. I mean, they scored 3 goals just in the first half against Spain. Spain has always been a team that plays good football, but nowadays they just look weak. I mean, not to say that England just aren't a good team and they're not supposed to be beating Spain. I mean, they have so many young players. And right now, these young players, it's looking great for the future of England. But Spain just looked so open, and they didn't look like they had any inspiration and just will to win. They just looked down in the first half. I mean, the second half, they came back with 2 goals. And then the last goal that they scored was basically the last kick of the game. So they really didn't have time to come back and score more. But England are really looking good. I mean, this World Cup really revived them. And the fact that they have so many young players is a good sign for the future. It doesn't look like this is something that's just right now. These guys, if they keep building, they keep with their clubs, they keep playing really good together, they're going to do great things. It's looking good for them. But Spain needs to get it right together, because it's not looking good for them, and they don't have as many young players as France or England. And speaking of France, they beat Germany 2-1 during that game. Another game that was decent, not a whole lot of goals. The winning goal was a penalty, but again, France came away with the win. Germany have been slacking also for a long time now. I mean, that descent kind of came right after they won the World Cup. France is still on top right now, but for Spain and now Germany, this happens. There's this trend now where these teams win a World Cup and then right after that they go into this descent. I mean, Germany got eliminated by South Korea in this World Cup, and now they keep losing games. They're not playing as well, even though Sané is back, so they have that attacking force, but there's just something that's missing. And once they really put their finger on it, then the team can really start flowing a lot better. But with that being it for men's international football this week, the Reggae Girls, which is Jamaica's international women's team, qualified for the World Cup in France next year. Now, they are the first ever Caribbean women's team to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. And it's a coincidence that the men's team for the first time qualified for the World Cup in '94, and it was going to be in France, and now the women did it, and it's going to be in France. It's like destiny. It's crazy, but congratulations to them. It's a big step, and they just made history, and hopefully they can play really well and represent their country well, and who knows, maybe pull off an upset. They're all going into the competition as underdogs. I mean, Germany and China, Japan, France, the US are so strong in women's football, but anything can happen. If there's a sport where really underdogs can shine, it's football. So hopefully they played their best game and they come out with a great result. And now into club football, Real Madrid lose yet again. No Cristiano, no party. We thought Bale was gonna step up. All these other players, Modric just is winning every award, individual award in football. And what's happening to the team? Marcelo's injured, which is a big miss to the team right now. But Real has depth. Real really has players, but they're not. What's happening? Madristas, what's happening? What's the team doing? Now they're out of the top 4 in the league. Barca won their game, which we're going to talk about. Real is losing, and they're running out of time. I mean, El Clasico is next week, and they really don't want to be embarrassed because that's just going from worse to worse every single week. You have the Champions League coming up, but it's not looking great for them at all, which goes to show, I mean, was Cristiano and, of course, Marcelo, who they're missing right now, are these guys just the pillars that hold up the team together? And is it the new coach? Is it Zidane leaving, making the team a lot weaker? There's a problem there for sure because they're not getting great results. Excuse the smile. But anyways, on the other side, Barcelona won 4-2 against Sevilla. Messi came out injured during that game with an elbow injury, which means he's going to be out for 3 weeks, and of course he's going to miss El Clasico. And El Clasico without Ronaldo and without Messi. What's happening in football? What's happening? Real's losing games. Alaves and them are in the top of the league. No Messi, no Ronaldo in El Clasico. Football is just crazy right now. And I love it. But I don't love the fact that Barcelona are going to be without Messi. I still feel like they have an edge over Real right now. Dembele is playing great. Coutinho and Suarez is finally finding his feet again. He's scoring goals like he used to. So I expect Barca to come out on top. I'm saying 2-1, maybe, just maybe 3-1, because it's going to be a high-intensity game. So I expect a lot of goals, but I definitely think that Barca can pull off the win. And Real haven't been scoring as much. I mean, they lost, but they only scored 1 goal, which was after 409 minutes or so. They hadn't scored, and they finally did. And the way Barca's defense is set up right now, especially Ter Stegen. I mean, his saves during the Sevilla game were incredible. And for so many years, I was gassing up Ter Stegen like, yo, this is the best keeper in the world. You can't tell me he's not the best. Like, we're talking about German keepers, and everybody's on Neuer. Like, oh, he's a sweeper keeper, all of that. Germany, they love him. Whatever. Ter Stegen, in my eyes, is the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't want to hear about Courtois and none of them. If he had a shot, especially in the national team, people put some respect on him. Best goalkeeper in the world, all right? His saves, and it's so natural to him. Like, watch highlights of Ter Stegen and see really how no one has that instinct in the game of football more than he. Nobody. But now moving on to the Chelsea versus Manchester United game. First, before I even say it, okay, so the game ended 2-2. The game ended 2-2. Martial scored twice, which is incredible considering how much chances he's been giving by Mourinho, and now he comes on and he scores 2 goals for them, which goes to show, you know, the guy can play. If you don't want to lose such a valuable player, put him as a starter a lot more often. I mean, stop leaving him on the bench. He's so young, he needs more playing time. But in the end, when Chelsea actually equalized and the assistant coach of Chelsea just celebrated to the United bench, and Mourinho went crazy. Everybody's fighting this weekend. I mean, look at this is not even football related, but Rondo and CP3 literally like throwing punches, and what's happening? What is the hormones, fellas? Relax. And this guy, he was wrong for taunting Mourinho, to be fair. He did go, you're not supposed to do, like, you already know these teams have rivalry. They're all top teams. And the fact that you go to the bench and celebrate to them, and what was hilarious is he didn't just celebrate and stayed there. He celebrated and just dipped. He left, and everybody was holding Mourinho back, and this guy just went about his day like nothing happened. Liverpool won their game, Manchester City won their game, which means they're both at the top of the league right now. The top 4 spots are still so close together, but it's looking like maybe Liverpool and City are going to battle this out. I still stand by my choice that Liverpool is going to win the league, but if they do, City won't let it be easy on them. Like, they're really close right now. They're both playing great attacking football. They're not scared to use their offense. They're not staying in the back. They're not just looking to share points with the other teams. They're looking to win every single weekend. And now in Italian football, the Milan derby was this week, Inter against AC Milan. And as expected, in these high-profile derbies like this, it's always intense. You always expect a great spectacle. And a great spectacle there wasn't a lot of goals. I mean, Inter won 1-0, and it was a 92-minute header from Icardi. The whole game, Inter had more possessions, more passes, a lot of shots on target. I mean, AC Milan had 15 shots, and only one of them was on target. So they're not as high up in the table as Inter anyways, but which goes to show, I mean, Inter ended up winning, but it was still a really tough game. Inter should have put it away a lot earlier, but the most important thing is they got the 3 points. And also, Juventus drew 1-1 to Genoa. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo was the one to score for Juve, which now gives him 400 goals in Europe's top 5 leagues, which is a new record. But it's nothing to be alarmed for Juventus. I mean, they're still high up in the league. They're on top. They're way ahead of most of the other teams. So they really have nothing to worry about with a draw. It's not like they lost 3 points anyways. I mean, Juventus is on paper the better quality team, but this time Genoa played a fantastic game, enough to stop them from getting the win. And now moving on to Bundesliga, Bayern won their game against Wolfsburg 3-1, so they're winning the game, which is a good sign for them. It was looking rough for a couple of weeks. They kept losing. Now Dortmund won their game 4-0. They're top of the league. Paco Alcácer from Barcelona now has scored for Dortmund every single time that he's had a shot on target. It was in goal also, which is a crazy statistic. But now it's looking a little bit better for Bayern. They're winning again, going into Champions League weeks. It's a little bit more confidence, you know, letting the team know that, okay, we had a bad spell, we're picking it right back up. Wolfsburg isn't a bad team, so the fact that they could put 3 goals past them is a good sign. But of course, we've seen this before where Dortmund has a really good time. You know, they're winning games and they're on top of the league by a couple points, and then somehow Bayern just comes out of nowhere and wins it. But this time it's, you know, happening to them a little bit earlier. So hopefully for Dortmund, they can keep their run going and expect, you know, other teams also to pull up upsets, smaller teams to hold Bayern to draws, hold Leipzig and Mönchengladbach and all these other teams, so that they could finally win the title after all these years. I mean, how long has it been since Klopp left and they haven't won the league? And last but not least, in football news, if you guys remember, a few months ago there was this team of young boys, a football team, who with their coach went into a cave, and with the rain and all of that, the cave ended up being blocked. There was a lot of water and they were stuck in there for 9 or 10 days, and they were rescued, and one of the rescuers had died and all of that stuff. It was crazy. You know, a lot of people didn't know actually if the boys were going to make it. Oxygen was low, all these different factors, but they ended up, all 12 boys and the coach ended up being rescued, and they came out alive. They received, of course, immediate treatment after, and now a few months after all of that fiasco, they were on the Ellen show, and she had an interpreter, and they were talking about the whole situation and how they felt. And Ellen was asking all sorts of different other questions, and in the end, she ended up bringing out Zlatan to the boys. I mean, they're all really big fans of him, and it was nice. She gave them free jerseys and all of that stuff. So it was a nice gesture, seeing how these boys went through like a traumatic experience, which must have been so scary for them. I mean, they're young boys. They did explain that while they were in there, they had to meditate a lot just to conserve energy and not feel like they were too hungry. They had no food or any of that stuff for 9 days, which is rough. I mean, you go and you're with your teammates, which is, now we can say it's probably a nice bonding experience that they won't ever forget. But at the time, it must have been completely horrific. I mean, thank God they're all right now, and they got to meet one of their heroes. But with that being said, that's gonna be it for this week's show. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. But if you didn't, drop a dislike, but make sure you let me know why in the comments below. Also, drop video ideas that you guys would like to see. There's a lot of things coming up, but if there's something specific you wanna see, make sure you drop it in the comments below or on the social media, which is also gonna be in the description. Also, check out the music, and I'll see you guys next time on Goal. Nah, you don't want to hear it. Peace.
What a Chanel surprise on her, yeah. She so bad, got girls and guys on her.